this is Inkweaver. Happy Thanksgiving. This is not an observation or a review of a game. This is just me talking. There is no script, and I just want to talk to you guys for a bit. I do apologize for not having a review this week. I mean, there was Thanksgiving, and I wanted to hang out with my family, so I prioritized that. But don't worry, there will be a review next week, next Friday. But I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys because this one is more of a special, like a 100 subscriber special. I'm not at 100 subs at this point, but eventually I'm gonna make it there. All in due time, Sync. All in due time. But now I wanted to have a conversation with you guys. There was a friend that asked me a particular question, which was why indie games? Why did I make a whole entire channel just dedicated to indie games, spotlighting them, talking about them, reviewing them, and all such? And the answer is not really complicated. It's rather simple, honestly. I like indie games, and I also don't like how modern video games that are being made today, like, there's something missing, right? That's the one thing. There's something missing with a lot of these AAA video games that are coming out. And I also have to say that the AAA industry, the ones that are in the front lines, right? These are the first games that you see if you want to get into video games, or if you're young and you hear about a video game, these are the companies that are front face and forward, but they are not the best representatives and they are not giving video games a good name. I honestly think that indie games or independent games are kind of the pillar that is holding up the industry. Of course, you could say that there are plenty of AAA games that are making X amount of money, making like billions of dollars, but I'm not looking at the money here. It's like when they said that Overwatch 2 had 30 million people playing the game. That did not rate its success. That didn't make it successful. That just meant that a lot of people was playing the game since it was free to play. And then you got games like Genshin Impact, and I have nothing against Genshin Impact. I think the game is fine. It's just not for me, but they made like billions of dollars every year, right? To me, those games are not what I would call true and bona fide pure video games, and that's just my opinion. Like, the end game of Overwatch is to make money, and the end game of Genshin Impact is to make money. Is it wrong for a video game to make money? No, not at all. Video games can make money. They are products. You buy them. I mean, they're essentially digital toys. But my overall issue is something like Overwatch 2, for example. Yes, that is a free-to-play game. Anybody can pick it up, anybody can play it, and anybody can have fun with that game. I'm just not fond with the practice that is implemented within the game that, you know, a lot of free-to-play games go with, which is microtransactions and an online shop, you know. They took away the loot box from Overwatch 1 and they put in a battle pass, which I still don't like. I don't like battle passes. All they are time wasters. They are there essentially to waste your time, because they want you to come back and, oh look, you have a battle pass, maybe you should fill that out. And there are people who are going to say that they love battle passes, that they enjoy doing the battle pass, and that's perfectly fine. I am okay with anybody enjoying a battle pass, but for me, in my opinion, a battle pass is kind of a distraction to what I really want to get into, and that's the gameplay of the game. And that's kind of the pattern that you get from free-to-play games that are made by AAA industries. It's not enough that you're playing the game, but when you have something like Dissidia Opera Omnia, you're not really playing the game most of the time. You're handling and organizing your resources. And when it comes to Genshin Impact, of course you can get into the gameplay loop, you can get into the story, you can have fun playing Genshin Impact, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's one of those rare games that you can actually have fun in. The only problem for me is that I know and I see what is actually going on in there. And again, nothing against the game itself. I think it would be perfectly great if they didn't have this system. Now, I know a lot of people are just going to say that you can just ignore this, but the gacha mechanic is in there. There is a gacha mechanic in Genshin Impact, and you know what? I can't ignore it. In fact, you can't really ignore it. You're going to touch it no matter what. The gameplay loop for Genshin Impact, which is the same thing for every other free-to-play game, is that you log in, get your bonus, then you go around to get more bonuses, then you do stuff like opening a menu or saving someone or doing a quest to get more bonuses, to get more resources, and you save all of those resources up so that you can put a spin in a gacha mechanic. That gacha mechanic will have something like a weapon or perhaps a character, in this case for Genshin Impact, which usually is a lot more fun, or maybe it's just something cosmetic, I don't know. but the gacha mechanic in there does help drive the game. And to me, that is something that I don't want to get into. I mean, eventually you're going to touch it. I know a lot of people say that you don't have to touch the gacha mechanic at all in Genshin Impact in order to play it. You don't need to actually get more characters. You can just use the original 4, but come on, this is Genshin Impact. Of course you're going to try to spend for something, of course, because you're going to accumulate those resources. You're going to be kind of swayed to spend that resource into that gacha mechanic. You're going to spend to at least get the chance to have a new character that you can play with. Because change is the spice of life. Do you want to play with the same 4 characters throughout your hundreds of hours of playing Genshin Impact? No. And that goes the same for other free-to-play games that act the same way with gacha mechanics. But you know what? It's not just those 2 examples. It's not just Overwatch being a free-to-play game or Genshin Impact also being a free-to-play game. There's also just other practices that get on my nerves in the gaming industry. And I already talked a little bit about battle passes. I don't like battle passes. They distract from the fact that you're trying to play the game for the game itself, and the battle pass is there for you to log in or to spend more time within the game. Games like Fortnite, which is kind of the outlier here, it has a battle pass and everybody says it's pretty good, but I don't get tricked by something like Fortnite's battle pass. I don't care whether or not it's just cosmetic or it has in-game currency to buy the next battle pass. It's a battle pass nonetheless, and I'm not going to play a game like Fortnite when it has that certain system within itself. And I'm not really into the gameplay loop of Fortnite. I'm not really a third-person shooter kind of guy. I'm not a shooter kind of guy in the first place. It does look fun. When I watched it in its heyday, it did look very exciting. But no matter how many cameos they put in there, no matter how many different ways of transportation or movement, it's kind of chaotic to me, and I can't really follow it. It may be my age, but I just don't really like Fortnite. I'm also really upset at the industry and their fake promises, their releasing of games that come out way too early, and how there are certain games that implement something that is just not agreeable. For example, there's Pokemon, and I know a lot of people like Pokemon. I like Pokemon, but I didn't like this generation's Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Company didn't fix that game. Pokemon Company is not going to fix that game. They're going to come out with DLC so that you can pay for it, so that they can keep that game alive and justify the next time they make a Pokemon game that it is the same crap. Like, if you look at the game, just look at the game, it doesn't look right. It does not run well on the Switch. And you would think for a company that's been working closely with Nintendo for a good while that they would at the very least ask for some help to optimize the game. And people will just eat it up. People will eat it up, especially with young folks. They will just eat this crap up from the Pokemon Company. Like, how many of y'all are gonna sit here and buy both versions of Pokemon? Why? Why would you do that? Wouldn't it just be better if they had one version with every Pokemon in it and everyone can just enjoy the game for itself? No, you're gonna buy that second copy. You're gonna buy both versions of the game because that's what you do. That's how you've been playing Pokemon throughout the entirety of your history of playing Pokemon, or you're just into that kind of thing. That is your desire. And as much as I want to sit here and berate people for just buying both copies of the Pokemon game, you gotta understand that I'm not trying to sit here and dictate you for how you spend your money. Do whatever you want. It just feels kind of stupid when you buy both versions of the game and you're probably mostly gonna play just one. But again, that's not my call. You do whatever you want with your money. It just seems like it is a waste. Like, there is no reason at all to buy that second copy. There is no reason why you're buying all these cosmetics in a free-to-play game. There's no reason for you to just spend all of your time in one singular game. You should be doing other things. You should be playing other games. That's what I believe. And indie games respect your time. Most indie games want you to play the game, turn it off, come back whenever you want, and just enjoy it at your leisure. But when it comes to modern games, when it comes to AAA games, it's always time retention and how much a person is spending when it comes to that one game that they've developed. And once again, I'm not trying to convince people to spend their money elsewhere or to spend their time elsewhere. You do whatever you want, but be smart about it at the very least. I'm spending my time and my money on a lot of indie games, and I've been doing that recently, but I feel like I can play a game, I can turn off the game, and do something else. I don't have to spend my time and extra money to feel like I am not wasting my time. You know how every other mechanic in some form or fashion in a mobile game where it's like, okay, I can spend money so that I don't have to waste my time. Yeah, I don't like that neither. And again, I'm not trying to say that all AAA games are like this. Oh no, there are plenty of AAA games that are really good. I could just name the one outlier right now, which is Elden Ring, or most recently, I've been playing Super Mario Wonder. And I have to say, Mario games have never really failed to please me in ways. Like, sometimes I get bored with them, but I've never seen them to be bad. Meanwhile, I have a lot to say to Sonic Superstars, and I'll get to that in some form or fashion in another video, but I'm just gonna say this right now. Super Mario Wonder is a great game. Sonic Superstars is an okay game. There's a lot that I want to talk about it. In fact, there will be a video in the future where those two will be put on a pedestal and we're going to see what they did right and what they did wrong. And we're mostly going to be picking on Sonic. I mean, holy crap, that game needs a lot of tuning. It just needs to be looked at, seriously. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning here. I don't like how AAA games are being set up for younger and older demographics when it comes to video games. I don't know what's going on. Well, I know what's going on and I just want to be blind to it, but it's just not going to happen. People who are casuals, people who are younger, people who are not terminally online like you or I at this moment can go ahead and buy a video game and not know the ramifications of buying a video game or spending so much money in a mobile game. They won't know and they won't care. We can't force them to do anything else. We can't force them to not spend money in mobile games or force them to not play games that just are not consumer friendly, or should I say customer friendly. I'll talk about that later, why I think we should be called customers, maybe in another video. But it's just sad, you know? It's sad to know that the gaming industry is just filled with a bunch of parasites that are called businessmen or corporate or CEO or investors. Yes, even the investors, I call them parasites. You may think that's harsh, but that's exactly what they are. CEOs, businessmen, people who just buy game companies are parasites because they're just trying to make money. Bobby Kotick has been a parasite in the gaming industry for just over 30 years, I think, when he got into Activision, when he made Activision Blizzard a thing. He's just been a parasite the entire time. But when you take away that element of corporate and you just have indie, you have something pure. You have something that I can honestly respect. This is the reason why I want to put a spotlight on indie games. This is the reason why I made my channel, and I want it to blow the hell up. I want this channel to maybe someday make it to 10,000, maybe 50,000, to 100,000, to maybe 1 million subscribers, and show that indie games are fun, whether you're in the younger crowd or the older demographic. I know a lot of people who are millennials or around my age are going to appreciate indie games, but there is so much more. There is so much that I want to show. There is so much I want to talk about. That's why I made the Indie Observer. And I hope that's a satisfying answer why I am so focused on indie games, why I made an entire channel for it. Man, I just love video games, alright? I like video games. I like good video games. I like video games that don't waste your time or make you feel like you're wasting your time. I like video games that don't give you temporary dopamine but gives you a very satisfying feeling when you turn it off. Games now is just a war on the mind, right? Like, hey, are you going to spend maybe hundreds of hours on this game this month? Or hey, are you going to actually spend a good 100, maybe $1,000 or $10,000 in our game this month or this year? I hate all of that. I don't want to be part of that. I don't like games that do that. I will always try to stay away or steer clear of those games. I have a personality kind of not in the right of way when it comes to games that are, well, let's just say borderline gambling. But that's just me. Those are my opinions, and that's the reason why I made this channel. Thank you guys for those of you who are subscribing to the Indie Observer and are watching the Indie Observer. I am not going to stop. I'm going to continue to make these videos. I'm going to continue to enjoy indie games, and I'm going to enjoy spreading the love, because I want a lot of people to know what these games and who these people are and the developers and the producers and everything like that. Just you wait, world. This channel will become significant in the indie space. At least, I hope so. I'll see you guys later.